When was the last time you finished a game? Not just started, but really saw the credit roll. If you are like me, it's been a while, unless it's one of those brilliant bit-sized indie gems. While doing a quick recap on my Steam page, I noticed a lot of the games I've played recently are on the shorter side. Some great examples of short games are Her Story, What Remains of Edith Finch, A Short Hike, Journey, and Insight. Lately, I've had the chance to play two amazing indie games that really grabbed me. They made me realize that shorter games are more common than ever. These games, Miniatures by Other Tales Interactive and Follow the Meaning by Hiking Main Studio, each took me less than an hour to finish. It's clear that more and more game developers are creating shorter experiences. According to a 2023 GDC survey, over 60% of indie developers focus on creating games with shorter playtimes because players are gravitating toward snackable gaming experiences. This trend probably reflects the fact that over the last few years we have less free time for our hobbies. It's a bit like TV shows. Seasons used to have 25 episodes and now we mostly see 4-episode miniseries. I like this shift for video games because it gives me the chance to play and review more games, but on the flip side, it's harder to find games that really stick with you, like they did in the past. There's so much out there, and it can be overwhelming to sift through and find the truly great ones. A lot of games today demand so much of our time, and honestly, we just don't have it. We are seeing more games, but fewer that feel meaningful. It's tough to find something that entertains you but also brings pure joy without any filler. That's why I love shorter games. They don't pad things out just to add playtime. Here's a question for you. Do you enjoy every single hour of a 100-hour game? For most of us, the answer is probably no. Yet AAA games often stretch playtime with extra missions, repetitive tasks, and filler content. For me, I start losing touch with the story, and it becomes harder to keep going. I've really enjoyed playing Elden Ring and Cyberpunk this year, but I've never finished either of them. I spent 70 hours in Elden Ring and 35 hours in Cyberpunk. When I think about how many short games I could have experienced in that time, it's mind-blowing. Sure, neither of these short games is as complete as Elden Ring, but the variety in art, music, and storytelling make them worth it. AAA games sometimes feel like an all-you-can-eat buffet. Lots of variety but maybe too much to digest. Meanwhile, indie titles are like a gourmet dish, small but unforgettable. I think I'm shifting my focus more towards shorter games. They don't all have to be under an hour, but that's the kind of gaming experience I'm drawn to now. For example, some of my all-time favorite games are short. Inscription takes about 9-10 hours, Felvidec around 4, and Return of the Obra Dinn about 9 hours, and there are plenty of other excellent games like the ones I mentioned earlier. What's the best short game you've played recently? Let me know in the comments. I'm always looking for recommendations. Maybe we can build a list of must-play short games. But there is one exception for me. Roguelikes. I've spent over 50 hours in games like Balatro. Why? Replayability. These games don't rely heavily on story, or if they do, the story isn't central to the gameplay. Replayability lets you sink in hours without feeling like you are missing out on the story. With big narrative-driven games like Cyberpunk or The Witcher, you really need to commit and focus. If you take a break for weeks, it's hard to pick up where you let off. Roguelikes, however, make it easy to jump back in at any time. In that way, roguelikes still feel like short games because of their flexible gameplay loop. Back to the main point, shorter playtimes in games reflects our broader shift toward consuming smaller bits of content. It's not just games. Our whole media landscape is shrinking. Think about TikTok videos, 5-minute YouTube essays, or Netflix miniseries. We are moving from long-term investments to quick bursts of satisfaction. Games are adapting to our changing attention spans. We are always in a rush, or just not relaxed enough to let things unfold. We don't allow ourselves to get fully connected to things. The result? We are overwhelmed by options and rarely finish what we start. With shorter games, we can experience something complete in a single sitting. Of course, sprawling epics like Elden Ring still have their place, but unless the experience stays consistently gripping, it's hard to justify the time commitment. In conclusion, time has become our most precious resource. Shorter games prove that developers are focusing more on quality, packing a punch in less time. If done right, shorter games help us skip the filler and get straight to the good stuff, delivering an intense, captivating experience. In the end, gaming is about connection, whether it's with a vast world or a small, deeply personal story. Shorter games remind us that even a brief moment can leave a lifelong impression.